Hello, Arthur and Ken. I'm super happy to have you for this new data sommelier talk show. We are going to talk about Clarifeye. I like very much the name for several reasons. I will tell you why. But I found this solution very interesting because you are at the intersection of knowledge management, knowledge warehouse, context layer, semantic layer, and you are here to explain what you do exactly, how we can use a solution to get the benefit of it. So thank you for joining me. That's very nice. And you have prepared some presentation and some content. I think it will be very funny. And Arthur can help to you right now
Hopefully,
to
hopefully,
to, to make the
yeah,
show, to do the show.
yeah. We're very glad to be here. Just to introduce myself very briefly, I'm Arthur. I'm an engineer at Clarifeye, and today I'm here with Ken, and we're here to tell you how we handle knowledge management, context layers with our solution Clarify. Ken, do
Excellent.
you want to maybe say a
Yeah,
little bit about
sure.
yourself?
Hi, I'm Ken. I lead the U.S. Go-to-market component of Clarify. I'm really happy to be here, and we think we have some really fun things for you. And also, thank you for doing this in English so that I can participate. I know this is probably one of the few versions of that, but thanks.
Yeah, I will improve my English with you for sure.
Oh, it's great. It's far better than my French.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
clarify. I like very much the name because we can understand it in French. Clarifier, clarify, and there's a
Mhm.
kind of I at the end, and it means even additional value or things for me. So, and I guess when we will see the features later, we will understand why clarify is clarify.
Yeah, and maybe actually just to say maybe a name about the logo. Well, we chose an owl. We could have chosen any animal, but the owl is actually like in French, or I think in European culture, it's related to wisdom. So basically, it's the science of knowledge, and I think that's what we are actually bringing to AI. As you can see on the slides, it's about expert knowledge and making sure that the answer you get from your agent is actually like grounded into company knowledge, right? So,
Okay.
and also maybe to add, I think there's also a story, but maybe hidden about the owl. The owl is actually the first image that Marvin Minsky, which is like a very old AI researcher, used to work for the MIT. And the first example he gave about like a machine doing reasoning was actually about an owl. He was saying, okay, all right, the machine does not understand what an owl is, but the machine can understand that an owl is a bird and a bird can fly, so an owl can fly. So, all right. So maybe the hidden story somewhere about the owl, but okay. So let's not
I
dig that. But I like the story.
I didn't know that. Thank you for that.
Maybe okay, we'll jump into it, right?
Yeah, let's
Say
go.
maybe
Yeah.
what we are, and I think the best way to show it is actually okay to tell you where we stand among the thousands and thousands of AI tools that you can see out there. So basically, what we are is actually a knowledge layer, and we sit at the intersection between actually the data sources and systems of companies, which are usually messy data stored in SharePoint, Drive, databases. I mean, it's kind of the life of a company, right? Where you upload docs, you send data. Uh, okay, so that's the layer that we all know about. And we are between this layer and the application layer. So we showed it Copilot, but that includes today all the Chat GPT, the Claude, the Mistral, anything you want. We're not basically doing this kind of full agentic solutions. We're really sitting between the apps and the data. And what we build, what you can see here, and can, if you want to jump in, don't hesitate. But what we do here, we take this data and we take expertise from experts, and we turn this raw data into business logic. So basically, how your processes go on in your organization, into knowledge data, which is like tagged data or chunked data that an AI will be able to retrieve. We build also an AI context, which is actually what you want to nurture your agents with. I mean, what are the prompts they can use? What are the tools, the retrievers, and so on? And maybe I think it is the part I like the most, which is about governance. What we do is everything is doable without code. Everything can be managed by anybody using only prompting or sometimes just click and drop stuff. But anything can be governed, which means that as a company grows, as a company evolves, its knowledge evolves, and everything we show here is purely dynamic.
Okay.
If you
Very
wanted
clear.
to, another way that one can think about this is if you looked at the progression of trying to get company information accessible to AI, the first pass was a version of RAG, but to make RAG better, then more context needed to be pulled from the subject matter experts. And so inside of a company, there's a tremendous back and forth inefficiency associated with those that understand how the documents or set of documents should be read, and then those that can actually build the RAG. And so what we thought is, well, okay, what has to happen is the logic and the context has to be brought inside the house with the RAG environment, so that there's repeatability, maintenance, governance, and like what we don't have indicated up on here, but is core to our solution, is that a subject matter expert actually injects that context and that logic before the RAG is actually built inside the toolkit, so that there is a interpretation of what the data should look like.
Okay, so yeah, we've seen a lot of content about the semantic layer, the context layer. For you, it's part of your solution, right? It's embedded. It's included in one platform.
Very, very much. There in our religion is that the context layer and the data need to live together, and that they must be built together and they must be maintained together. But very important, they are not those things should not live at the model layer, right? And because in order to make an MCP server work with many different applications, I must detach the knowledge from the model and the data. That is our belief. If you believe that, then you can come with us. If you don't, then different.
So yeah, it makes sense, because if you keep this at the model level, it's too much static, maybe.
Go ahead, Arthur.
Yeah, and what I think is also that semantics is maybe a lot about, okay, who's talking? Okay, what semantics are we using? If you talk to business operationals, they will have one way to speak about like their operations. If you talk to an IT guy, might have another language. So that very much depends. And then if you just are stuck with your model, it's not, according to us, dynamic enough. So what we're actually building is the possibility to say, okay, you're in business, this is how you speak, this is what info you want to get. You can get it from all your data sources and systems. And if you're an IT guy, okay, you can also talk to actually our to Clarifeye and to Clara, but we'll talk about it later, hopefully, and talk to Clara and then have your semantic. And even if you, maybe also something you can do is, even if you have two guys that actually want to work together but have debates on how to retrieve data, actually you can actually govern that inside Clarifeye. You might have debates, and you can actually start building kind of a ubiquitous language, something that it's also a notion we hear a lot, but actually converge more and more on concepts, so the company like has, I don't know, it's kind of ubiquitous language. I think it's a good thing to use.
Okay. Yeah. How complex it is to start with a solution? You have to ingest document first. You have to apply some additional knowledge or structure, and then you are ready to go. But how long it can take to do that?
Amazing. I think you could go back to that last one, Arthur.
Yes. This
I
one.
was right there. So that's the beauty of how our product has evolved and been built. So I'll take you on a little history, a very brief history of Clarifeye. So very much there were in the beginning those four pillars that we just showed were there, right? The context, the logic, the data, the governance. It's always been there. And but getting that context in, we said, oh, the subject matter expert should have a seat at the table in order to inject their knowledge, at least as a first pass, right? At making the warehouse. So the short answer to your question is that system can be instantiated and built within minutes. I'm
Okay.
talking 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. Very, very short, very quick first version of that knowledge warehouse, because the subject matter expert communicates with our conversational assistant called Clara. She asks very detailed questions about what the objective of working with the documents that she's about to see is. What type of questions do you get about these? When people are wrong, where are they often wrong, right? Those kinds of detailed questions. Clara then says, okay, show me the documents, show me the data. So you connect to the corpus of information. From there, Clara will create artifacts which represent that contextual knowledge. She builds those, and then she actually makes a first pass at structuring the data. All of that is represented in those four quadrants. The best part about it, however, is that data engineers also have access points to make further changes to the system. So if Arthur sees that the specificity wasn't perfect on these certain rules, he can actually go into that warehouse, write pedantic classes, or create whatever we call it screwdrivers. You can grab different screwdrivers and you can turn them. So it's not a one size fits all, one shot version of the world. It's not like lovable level black box. It's very white box.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've seen a lot of contents about data engineering adding skills to their job, or data engineers adding skills, and it's more about tuning the business more than tuning the pipeline.
It's well, I don't know how that relates to us, but just to give like maybe a very concrete examples, I work with lawyers, and I work both with the lawyers and the IT team. So basically what we can do is, like, last week we took it was 25 lawyers inside one room. They all had different specialties. So the one was about corporate law, the other was about civic law, many different specialty. And I think it was in 30 minutes, we had we call them teammates. They built 30 teammates having their own specialty. All right. So they started using it right away. And when something popped up, for example, it was mainly lawyers who want to get answers to very specific points in very specific contracts. Okay. So they want to know, okay, in corporate law, what did the guy selling the company say? Okay, exactly what did he say at this point, this time? All right. So they start asking questions to the knowledge warehouse, and sometimes their answer is not very accurate. It is accurate, but it misses something. So that's where the IT and the data engineers come in, and they're like, okay, looking through the knowledge warehouse and saying, okay, I missed maybe a tag on the data. Maybe I should add a more precise tag and a pedantic class that says that the evidence we want to look for should be tagged with this specific property, and so on.
Okay.
And once this is done, then actually the teammate gets better. And that's something we really believe on, like a quick and fast feedback loops between the IT teams and the domain experts.
Okay, so several iterations, and you start first with the business people, maybe, or the subject matter expert.
I think it's the best way to start. We've done that very few times, starting from the IT guys, but I don't know, somehow it's just better when you get like concrete data and you have guys that know that in their documents what they want to know is this. These IT guys actually don't have this kind of expertise right away.
Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Okay,
Mm.
so you have built this solution. You have a portal you can access, and you can add your rules, business rules, your knowledge, your tags.
Actually, yeah. Yeah, of course. I don't know if I can share my screen right now. Maybe it's not the best way to operate.
Yeah, we can try. We can try here. If I switch to, let me switch to this scene, and then you can share your screen.
All right. Here we go. Can you see my screen? Yes. Can you see it? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Pretty good. So here's how. Okay, you can see it. Everything. So yeah. So just something here. Okay. So that's where you land. Actually, no. Okay. This is where you land. So when you have Clarifeye, basically what you can do is like build as many teammates as you want on very different specialties. And actually, you can see here on this one, I have one which is about like cosmetic regulation. This other one is about digital automotive catalog extraction. This one is about homicide case fact verification. So if a company has like, let's say 10 expertise, you can imagine like 10 different teammates, okay? And this is built, and I think that's where I should start, from Clara. So Clara is the agent you talk to capture your knowledge, right? And it's just a simple chatbot, right? I don't know if I can take a case, but here it's you're going to describe what's your expertise and what you want to do with Clarify. So if I take back my lawyer example, it's okay. I'm a corporate lawyer, and I want to be able to identify, let's say, the SPA clauses into a big data room. Okay, the random thing. You start talking with it, and Clara is going to, okay, so kind of grill you, ask as many questions as possible so it makes sure that it understands. So it's here you say, okay, thanks. It sounds like the main goal is to make close identification across many files. Are you looking for the agent to simplify, find and point out where each clause appears? Or do you want also to put it at the full text summarized? You can say, okay, full text. All right. So, and by talking to Clara, what's going on behind is actually the knowledge warehouse is being set up. Okay. So
Very clear.
anything, the pipelines, the data pipelines are being set up, the tagging trees, the objects you will want to retrieve from your corpus. Yeah, so everything is being built by having a simple conversation. And I think that's kind of a beauty to see this going on. And you can talk. We have customers that can spend hours talking with Clara when it's very, very detailed. We had an example of a guy who spent an entire afternoon. He was trying to actually doing some drug, chemical composition detection inside documents. So it was very, very, very specific. And all he had to do was like talk to Clara, so he could actually identify this kind of drug composition.
Okay, so first you prepare the system with this kind of interview, question and answer, and
Yes.
then when you want to link or get benefit of the system, you can use some API or REST through application or
Yes.
Python code or whatever.
Yes, you can actually, maybe I can just switch back. But once your Clara is done, well, basically everything you do, as you can see, you can access it through API. And now we offer the access to all kind of AI applications. So Claude, ChatGPT, Copilot, and if you want to just plug in the MCP to start your own app, we're actually starting to nurture new apps that are being built, guys that want to do stuff, and you say, okay, all right, just build your front end and make Clarify the back end, right? That handles the knowledge. Okay. So we're making Clarify available through all AIs, basically. That's the goal.
Okay. How do you control the result? And do you have some guardrails, to be sure that when you produce an answer, this will be validated somewhere?
So we have a very involved feedback mechanism, and Arthur can show that. So every time, so the idea in the playground that he just showed there is that's where you would continue to curate and hone your corpus, your knowledge warehouse. You provide feedback either directly in the chat window or explicit feedback, and then it appears in this environment where there are multiple levels of approval necessary in order to make changes to the warehouse. Now, that's an interesting component of itself, because as feedback is given, Clara is trying to figure out where the feedback should be inserted as far as structural changes to the warehouse. Meaning, some feedback should require a playbook change. Some feedback should require a brief change or an ontology change, or even kickstart a new entire pipeline. So
Yes.
the feedback, it is a self-healing knowledge system, and governed by the feedback of the subject matter experts.
Yeah.
Again,
Okay.
there's always an opportunity for a data engineering team to drop into what we call the technical interface, which you could flash real quick if you wanted to, and then grab a specific screwdriver, make a tag change, be as granular as they'd like.
Okay.
Yes. So just what I'm showing on my screen here is like, okay, it's in French, but what it says is basically the guy submitted a question about like a case for a low case, and the answer is not specific enough. So basically, he can send a feedback saying, okay, be more precise. Clara is going to say, okay, maybe the thing to be enhanced here is actually this workflow. So it's going to suggest that maybe we do 2 rounds of searches on the knowledge base, more than 1, or maybe add a new tag. And you can do it actually, with only prompt. Meaning like, okay, if I say here, yes, add exact, ajoute des paramètres exacts, up, then it's going to go from this simple prompt, re-engineer here the playbook. But if the tagging system is the issue, it's going to re-engineer the tagging system. So everything, it can be twisted, even if you're not data or AI engineers. You just have to understand your logic and basically your business logic to make things better.
So there's some French inside this demonstration for a good reason, right? If I've understood well, the founder are ex-Dataiku French people, right?
Yep.
And
that's
again,
how we, that's sort of the original DNA, and you see a lot of the DNA in even the architecture of the platform. So 2 of the 3 co-founders, Max and affectionately I'll call him LPK, but Max and LPK are 2 of the 3 co-founders. They joined with Matt, who was not part of the Data IQ team directly, but I feel like he is at this point. Myself and many of our other colleagues were also early Data IQ members. The architecture of bringing all the great tools into one place is a very similar idea, and making it possible to democratize the build, right? So one of the initial core tenets of Data IQ is that whether you were an analyst or a coding data scientist, you had one unified environment to build, and everything was pipeline controlled and governed primarily for structured data. And so seeing we may say skating to where the puck is going, right? Or seeing the future. Unstructured data ran through the same problem, except the subject matter expert needs to work with toolkits that they don't really participate in very often, and the data engineer also needs to participate in that.
Yeah.
And there's many different tools that need to be governed, pipeline controlled. So there's a lot of similarities there. And of course, our first early customers at Data IQ were French, and our first early customers at Clarifeye are French. So
Okay, so it seems that this product is very open and can cover many domains. But maybe you maybe have some specialized or dedicated sales play for banks or insurance, or you have talked about lawyers. I think
Yes.
it's obvious to work with them because they manipulate a lot of text content. Is there some other sales play you have in your portfolio?
Well,
we have. Go ahead, Arthur.
Go ahead.
So you covered many of them. So any highly regulated industry
Okay.
would fit, right? Anytime you would need precision in a document. So even industrial, we have a couple industrial manufacturing examples. Any finance and legal, insurance. It's hard to find. Actually, it's hard to find an industry that there wouldn't be a good application of precision for. That's on the precision. We'll call it the reading the corpus with precision side of the house. We also believe that the making a knowledge layer ubiquitous across all the different front ends is potentially a much a bigger and like it's just it's sort of obvious to me that you would not want to put all of your eggs in, say, a Claude token consumption basket, right?
Yeah.
So you need some interoperability to different model layers, and that would work regardless of your complexity of your corpus, right?
Okay.
So we think that there's really multiple pathways for us.
Okay, very very clear. So you are on both sides of the Atlantic right now. Ken, you are on the US side. Arthur in France, Paris, right? And it's still a small team, right? But
still a small team. We're hiring aggressively. If anybody out there is interested in working on a tool like this and people like us, please do reach out. Our CEO is moving to the US in the next few months. And again, we already have 2 resources in the US. So a lot of our sales and marketing will naturally grow out of the US, but we want to maintain that strong French core, certainly of the engineering team, because maybe I'm biased, but I think they're the best. The French, I love working with French companies. It's my favorite thing because you always know the product is really good, right? So anyway, go ahead.
Excellent, good. So I think it's time for the conclusion. We have covered the high-level concept of the product. And is there any additional topic you would like to discuss before the conclusion?
Well, we do. Go ahead, Arthur.
Yeah, one more thing in which we really believe is when we work with clients, we don't just like ship a product and then let things happen. We really believe in just like taking time. That's what I do like all my weeks, and I love it, which is actually to talk to the experts, understand how they think, understand what are the edge cases that they might miss, try to understand what they don't know. So it's kind of also a discovery process where you're gonna, well, basically what I like to think is after Clarifeye, you really know what you didn't know before. And then you really get better. It's not about being faster. It's also about being like deeper. And being like greater at what you do. And so we take time. Our engineers are really like field-based. Okay, so we're there. We're not just like remote and just shipping a product. That's something.
You have shared with me that it's not only about talking to the system. You are here to help people talking to the system and manage the knowledge and make it real. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you, gentlemen. Clarifeye. I love very much the name of your company, and thank you for this brief and conclusion. The
floor is yours.
Oh, okay, good.
We certainly have a free trial. Can we share a link with you, and maybe you can figure out a way to get it
Oh,
to
yes.
the team. So we'll share a link to a free trial. We'd love you to contact us, obviously, but build your own, and then we can help guide and guide your warehouse and connect it to your respective AI. So thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Merci beaucoup.
Merci.
Merci.